Now I know what that cave was all about. That was pretty cool. Spiders notwithstanding. Oh, right, I put the oscillators up here. And I've got 8 of them so far. Let me see, 36. How many of these do I have? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, possibly 14? I guess so. 14 times 200. 14 times 200, 14 times 200 is 2,800. 2,800 divided by 36 does not go evenly into 36. 2,800 divided by 36. I'm going to round it up to 40. 70. Which means I need more quartz. Quartz crystals. I've got another idea regarding that. It's a retread of an old one, but let me see if I got the room for it. Building this place was touch and go, very touch and go. I'm looking for a place to put another container. Specifically an industrial one. Sure, obviously I can put it in an empty spot, but does have an input in a higher position, so there's that. Let me see if I can get a conveyor belt out of here. Turn around. Aim it up. So it goes over the machinery and into, oh my goodness. There. So now I can sort of pipe it into this is only 60 minutes, but yeah, and it looks like it's still got some extra quartz to work through, extra raw quartz to work through. Think of it, there's a lot of it. So I just got a better idea. Wait a minute. 37.5 times 4 is 150. Which means I need to upgrade these to Mark III. I wonder if I can do that, like... I can. Interesting. Hold on. Be 120. You know what? I'll go whole hog here. There we go. Now everything's going nice and quick. Finally start this thing back up again. Here goes. That wasn't half bad. Got some power slugs out of it. And I finally found out what was in that cave. And I think I'll be on track to make all the oscillators I need for that thing that detects hard drives. If anything, it'll be some good exploration. Well, I've officially got enough computers for the Fix-It Blueprints Mark II. And this, I think, is the last milestone of Tier 6. All that's left is Phase 3. Of course, there's always research. Which reminds me, I need strange alien matter. I do need more computers here. If I want to make a programmable splitter. Or a geothermal generator. Another way of making energy. I do remember running into a geyser over at Freighter Lake somewhere. You know, all this has inspired me to check on how well my Conterium factory is doing. How are things in Precipice Conterium? First things first. I need a few stacks of quick wire. I'll take 5 of them. Just because I'm not really sure how much I need. AI limiters. I got 100 of them. I'll take that. Now the high-speed connectors. Just ran out of plastic. There's the box at the end of this. I got 100 of those too. Oh wow. Alright. But first things first. Go down to Freighter Lake, grab more plastic to resupply the high-speed connector factory with, but I have 100 high-speed connectors. I think that means I'm able to research geothermal energy. I'm going to make that a priority. So before the resupply, let's see. Here we are, geothermal generator. I'll take that. Geothermal generator unlocked. Geysers out of the object scanner. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I don't like lemonade that much. When life gives you deadly geothermal vents, run directly toward them and build generators. Use potentially lethal natural phenomenon for your own benefit. It's the fix-it way. Well, potentially lethal, that would be nuclear energy too, wouldn't it? Okay, now I have AI limiters. Where do I use them? A power switch. Yeah, I don't have the resources for a programmable splitter just yet, but I might as well use the power switch. Bloop. Power switch unlocked. Fixit is proud to announce that the power switch facilitates power grid management through the application of the very latest advances in on-off switch technology. Fixit, it's fun to have power. Or as Mel Brooks once said, it's good to be the king. I honestly can't believe I didn't think of this sooner. It was staring me, the solution was staring me right in the face. I mean, I got all this rubber and nothing to do with it. So what am I going to do? Well, the obvious answer is sink it like this. Let me just angle this a bit so that it isn't, so that it's nice and close, but that it's not overlapping or encroaching on anything. Or okay, where the heck am I supposed to put this thing? There. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna put some Mark III conveyor belts in it, and then let me see. Where's a convenient power pole? Or power something. Let me see. Tension line. Maybe that one over there. Yeah. That's another thing I forgot about. High tension power lines have these 4 little connections for like ordinary power lines. Okay, so I used the maximum the maximum speed conveyor belt. Yeah, see, standard points. It's giving me standard points. Let's see, is it? And it looks like those ramp up exponentially too. And speaking of, I have to process the stinger protein that I got. So I guess I'm just gonna leave this go. I mean, I suppose if I need rubber, I can always use I'm running low here. That hasn't filled yet. Really? No, I had no idea it was that out of plastic. I can let it accumulate here, because I need plastic more than I need rubber. So I suppose it shakes out pretty evenly in the end. One thing that's a relief, though, is that I don't have to abandon the diesel generators, or the fuel generators, even with the byproducts. I can just render them to rubber and plastic, use the plastic, sink the rubber. Although at some eventual point I am going to need a lot of rubber. I think I sort of do need a lot of rubber. If I'm going to start those modular engines, I think they're called, then yeah, I'm going to need rubber. Lots of it. 7,500 units of it, come to think of it. And I've got a substantial chunk of that already loaded, but yeah, that reminds me, I got to build a factory for rotors. I need them to build smart plates to make the modular, engines. Speaking of other things I got to do, I'm coming up on the SAM node. Yeah, the one with where the iron was so far away from it, and I got either maybe use trains, or there was another SAM node way closer to me. Maybe I can see about that one. Welcome to Back of the Envelope Calculation Theater. Now, I've had a rotor factory before, but not one that's this sophisticated. It takes iron at 90 a minute. Split that up into 3 smelters. And then you split the output of the 3 smelters. Now, rotors are made out of rods and screws. So I'm going to take... well, first I got to split each smelter 2 different ways. And make rods out of all of them because screws are made out of rods. So we're going to have the rods for the rotors. But what about the screws? You need to get exactly the right proportions of rods to screws. How's that done? Well, you take the outputs of one of these rod factories and split it 3 ways, merge 2 of the ways, and put that into a screw factory. Then you take the output of another rod factory and merge it with the remaining output, split it the same way, and merge the extra with the remaining output of the first rod factory to make a screw factory. But I've also got one part of that split of the second rod factory, which I'm going to use to make screws at half capacity, or half function. So I've got 100 screws, because a fully functioning screw factory makes 40 screws a minute, and a half functioning screw factory makes 20 a minute. And we take those and combine them, and then add the rods. What's left from that second rod factory plus the total output of the third. And that should be 20 rods. And 20 rods a minute and 100 screws a minute makes a rotor. But it doesn't divide evenly into the node, so I have to duplicate this entire setup a second time. And that's where the sticking point was before. Well, that and the fact that over and underclocking hadn't been discovered yet. Keep in mind, it is possible to overclock some of these things, like the screw factories, for example, and remove the need to split. But this is all done without overclocking, without power shards, but with underclocking. So we have our 2 rotor factories, and we merge them and put them in a box. And presto, 1 rotor factory. And here it is, the rotor factory. I only overclocked the miner. That's the only way you can wring 90 units of ore out of an impure node. Anyway, it's going to these 3 smelters over here. Are those things even on? They should be on. At least one of them should, anyway. So that should not be red. Oh, I never programmed it. Hang on a second. There we go. I had to program these things. Anyway, so that's done. These go to all these constructors that make rods. 6 of them. 2 for each smelter. And then the rods, well, some of them make screws, some of them just go directly to the assemblers to make the rotors, but in the end you end up with 100 screws for 20 rods. It's because screws are a 1-to-4 ratio, so if you divide 100 by 4, you get 25. 25 plus 20 is 45, and that's exactly how many just exactly how many rods you get out of 3 constructors for them. So yeah, I did have to sort of double this up, but it's a good way to make rotors. The only potential drawback is that it's way out here. Let me see. Is this thing anywhere near making its first rotor? The screws haven't quite come in yet. Ah, there we go. Okay. Alright, so, you might remember the old SAM node. Actually, you know what, strike that. I took all the extra rods and I gotta resupply the, heavy modular frame, factory with them, because I mean, yeah, I suppose I'll have to add to that, but for now I just have a lot of rods to that I gotta use. Also, it's faster to go to Steel Hill and walk back than the car is here, so I don't know, maybe I ought to take it to this place I'm thinking of going to. While I'm over here, just how many motors do I have? That's not enough. Alright, I'm gonna have to restock the wires here, the copper wire spools, because I'm gonna need 1,000 motors. Right now I've got like about a tenth of that.